Hello and welcome to another edition of AttractWell Office Hours. I'm Coach Ashley, joined today by founder of AttractWell, Greg Kilwine. Hey, Greg.
Hey everyone, really glad you made it today.
Yeah, we're really excited to have you. Today, we're going to talk about creating evergreen funnels for events. So if you are someone who wants to host sales calls on a weekly basis, or really any other kind of recurring call, and you don't want to have to recreate or reinvent the wheel every single week, to get that done, we are going to show you how you can go about setting yourself up to save loads of time with a couple of key features in Get Oiling. In AttractWell, and one of those is actually fairly new. So you may be familiar with the feature itself, but how we're going to be using it is a little bit different than you may be used to. So we're going to look at that today. And of course, we are going to explore what it looks like to create a recurring event funnel that you never have to change. And of course, the different ways that you can use it. So we've got a packed call here today. We've got a lot to get into. Greg and I are going to pop out a video and get into the slides that we have prepared for you. Again, welcome. Really excited to have you. Go ahead and head over into the chat and let us know where you're coming in from and what you're working on this week. So this week we're talking about how to set up and run evergreen events with AttractWell. So we're going to get into a feature that we'll explore to get this done called field tags. And we'll talk about how to use those field tags to create evergreen funnels for those recurring live events, workshops, webinars, or whatever else you want to be out there promoting and using for your business. We will also go over the resources that I've created with you, for you rather, and sent out to you to get started. And then, of course, as always, we'll get into live helping Q&A. And we do have 2 people signed up for the live work review today. So again, packed call, a lot to get to. If you've got questions, you actually have an opportunity live here on the call to put them into the Q&A, whether they pertain to today's subject matter or not. This is a great opportunity for you to get support. If you're struggling with something, Greg is here and ready and created the platform, and of course, is able to help address those questions as I'm going through today's content. And if you are watching this as a replay, I want to encourage you to head over to attractwell.com/office hours to join us on an upcoming live call. We are live every Thursday at 2 p.m. US Eastern Time on Zoom. And this is a great opportunity to chat with us, to get some insights and get help if you're looking for it. It's also just a really great community here. And if you'd like to work together live, like 2 people have chosen to do today, you can go to attractwell.com/work review to reserve a spot on an upcoming live call. And if you would like to just hand off your projects to someone qualified, you can do that too. Attractwell.com/concierge is where you want to go to learn about our team, the projects they've completed, and find out if they're a fit to take on yours. All right, so let's get into this. AttractWell has everything that you need to promote and host your workshops, your webinars, whether these are things that you're doing to nurture your audience or to close sales, or to serve people that you already have in your purview, so your clients and so on. Everything that you need to host recurring events is all in one place with AttractWell. You literally need nothing else. And now you can save yourself even more time with these events that you're hosting on a regular basis by using a feature called field tags. Now, you may not know what I'm talking about when I say field tags, but if you've ever used contact first name in an email, you've already used them. And this is something that is very easy to plug right in to what you are creating. And it's not just emails that you can use these in. Field tags are usable in email, of course, so broadcast campaigns, but you could also use them in text messages, again, either broadcast or campaign. You can use them inside of member areas. And today I'll also be showing you how you can use them on pages. But the cool thing about field tags is, one of the many cool things about field tags, is that now we have a date field tag. Now, this date field tag is going to allow you to create the evergreen landing pages, campaigns, confirmation pages for your funnels. If you want to register someone for an event that you do every week, for instance, you can set it up so that every time someone visits that page, they know that the next date you are hosting this call is next Wednesday or next Tuesday, and so on, right? So we have this field tag that we can use to create evergreen resources for our events. So let's just say you want to host a Zoom call every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Maybe this is an exploratory call, an info session, one where you share some value, give some details, but then ultimately are presenting a call to action to purchase or take a next qualifying step toward purchasing. So that what we're going to do is create a landing page that we would use to have someone register for this call. But instead of creating that page and adding the date to it and having to go back every week and update the date, you can simply use this date field tag to have it always display whatever next Wednesday's date is, right? Or next Tuesday's date, etc. So this is what it looks like on the left-hand side in the editor view. So the when details here are next Wednesday in the tag from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern time. And on the published page, it's actually going to display. So today is October 10th. It's displaying October 16th. If someone were to look at the same published page on October 16th, it would be listing the following Wednesday, right? So you can also use contact info field tags. And this is where we kind of take things next level. You can really personalize things. So as you can see here, I filled out a landing page, right? So this is our landing page to register for a recurring event. And so I put in the name, I put in the email address. And so let's look over here on the right-hand side of the screen. Up above, you have the editor view, and I've got the contact first name tag here. And you can see below that it's actually displaying the lead's first name, right? I also have their email address. So here on this confirmation page, I'm saying, hey, you're registered. We'll see you soon. Here's the email address of yours that I sent this information to. And I'm telling them, go check that email address. And be sure to add my email address to your contacts so that you don't miss what I'm sending you, right? And then I'm reiterating the details of the call that they registered for. Now, this again is a confirmation page that is evergreen. When you set up the landing page and the confirmation page like this, you could have the same type of call like this every week for a year or 5 years and never have to change either page. Really simple, right? So this is where these field tags can be used on pages. Now, a quick note, if you want to use field tags on pages, it is really important that the page that you're using is not just a publicly searchable page, right? So it wouldn't be one, like it would be a by link only page, and it would be one that would be visible to someone who just opted in, as in this case, where I put a name and email address into a form, or maybe it's where they go after they click a link in email, or it's inside of a member area. And the reason for this is that contact first name tag is only going to successfully work if, and only if, that contact is in your system, right? And that they have been in your system recently, or maybe ideally have just performed some kind of action, clicking a link, logging in, opting in, etc., so that you can make sure that this shows up reliably. Now, as you have probably used before, if you use AttractWell, these date field tags, the contact field tags, like contact first name, you're probably already familiar with. Now you can actually go into your campaign that would go out automatically after someone registers for this event, and it will always give them the correct date for that event, right? Because we're using, again, here that next Wednesday tag, and it's going to show whatever the next Wednesday is. So these three things together, the landing page, this campaign that goes out after they opt in, and that page that they're redirected to, the confirmation page, all three of these are evergreen once you have them set up the way that you want them, right? So you can use that same link to promote that call far and wide and just show up every week to meet the people who signed up for that week's call. Right? So let's look at our resources here. We do have a resource bundle that we emailed out to you. Greg, if you're able to pop that into the chat, that would be awesome. This is a bundle in AttractWell that you can use that actually has templated versions of your registration page, confirmation page, and that campaign that you want to use. So let's go and see them in action and get started with this. And go ahead and head into the chat as well and let me know what kind of recurring event you are interested in creating, or maybe one that you are already doing that's taking up more of your time than it needs to. Let us know what that looks like for you, and we can actually explore some use cases. So here I'm going to claim the bundle. Oops, I actually need to be in Jane's account for that. Sorry about that. There we go. All right, now I'm going to claim this bundle and put it to use. All right, so I'm going to claim this. And now we can start working on our resources. I'm going to begin with the registration page. And let's just take a look at what this looks like when it's published. So the published version of this page, we've got the name of our workshop. We have the compelling reason why somebody might want to attend this workshop, any supplemental details. Here's our call to action to save our seat. We'll list the name of the workshop here again. And then here is the date for the next one. We're telling them to enter their details below. When they put their information in here, it will redirect them to that confirmation page. Here we also have really just selling points, right? This is how we can break down what they'll learn, a little bit about you. You can swap out your image here, and some testimonials, some Q&A if you want to use it, and a call to action that'll take them back up to the top to register. So let's explore what needs to be modified here, starting with the settings. Up here, we have the name, the title bar text, which is very important that you change, right? Because that's what you can see up here where it says dashboard or claim a resource bundle. You want to make sure that this maybe lists the name of your workshop. So change that here. And then you want to change your link path in keeping with that as well. Under the lead settings, I want to go ahead and explore this with you here. The message on the lead capture form, there is actually one there. You just can't see it here because it's a white background and I made white text. So you can see here, it says enter your details below to save your seat. So I have that here. If you want to, of course, not have white text or you want it to be a different color, just know that there is text here for you to edit. We have save my seat now as the button label, and we have a blue button. You can, of course, modify these to your liking. The fields, I'm going to just keep as is. Again, in a lot of cases, it's name and email. If you want to require phone or have phone listed, you could certainly include that as well. And then finally, after they register, this is already set up for you. So this campaign that we'll be editing next, this is already set up here. It's good to go, as well as the confirmation page, which we'll modify here together as well. So you don't need to change these things, but what you absolutely do need to do is add a tag here. So I'm going to call this workshop leads. So because this is a workshop, this is my Evergreen workshop. So these are my workshop leads. So if somebody registers here, I need to be able to find those people who registered on this page so that I can send them, say, a reminder for our call that's about to go live, which I'll demonstrate that here in just a bit. So create some kind of a tag here that you will use. Now, depending on how you're using your recurring live events, you may wish to also include an automation. So if you're creating these live events just as a way to have people show up and attend a call and receive value from you on a weekly basis, let's say, then you don't have to necessarily select an automation here, right? Because if what you're doing isn't something that is tied into a sales process, it's okay or even ideal for people to come back week over week over week, right? So in that case, you really don't need an automation here. If you are using this as a sales funnel, right? If this is a part of a sales funnel, so you're offering a workshop and maybe you're making a pitch on that call, and the goal is not for anybody to ever really attend this twice, right? But for them to convert after attending once, then you do want to include an automation here. And in a case like that, the automation I would include here would remove this tag. Or that would be one that you would use in the future. You might want to, remove the tag, add a different campaign after the fact, a certain number of days out, etc. This might not be something that you attach right here. And we can discuss these use cases. Actually, I don't want to get too far into the weeds. We'll discuss those here in just a bit. But basically, just make sure that you have a tag here to begin with. Okay. So now that we've got that here, we do have our next Wednesday tag here. Depending on the recurring day of the week you're going to be hosting these events, you might change this to Thursday or Monday, etc. And that's essentially it. If you want to change the colors, obviously you can do that. If you want to play around with the icons and images that we've included here, there are Canva templates right here for you to be able to use if you wish. So that is our landing page. I'm going to go ahead and save that. And let's come back over here to our, well, let's actually do the confirmation page first before we edit the campaign. So here's our confirmation page. This and the landing page both, if you notice, do not have the header and menu or footer. And it's important because in both of these cases, we don't want people to click off and go anywhere else, right? These are squeeze pages where we want to squeeze the options for what to do next down to one option, right? So for the landing page, it's register on this page. And for this confirmation page, it is check your email and add my email address to your contacts. So you can see here that the personalization tags we're using, we've got their email, that's contact email. We've got my email, that's the one that's connected to your AttractWell account. And then of course, we've got whatever the recurring date of the week is or day of the week, so that it will reflect the correct date on the published page. And then of course, we've got our contact first name up here at the top. It's all pretty straightforward. Let's get into the settings. Definitely make sure that you make the modifications to the title bar text and the link path here. I would, in this case, maybe say your seat is saved and the title of your workshop in the title bar text up here, and make sure that the link path reflects the same. This is available by link only, no header, no footer, no lead forms, nothing like that. We're good to go, right? So this is pretty straightforward. And we can actually take a look at what this will look like published. So I am in here as Jane, so you can see Jane's name here. You can see Jane's email address. And of course, that is the same as the email address on this account in that case. And it has the correct date. So that's our confirmation page. This is where they go after they register for that workshop. Now, the final thing that we will be modifying is our campaign. But before we do, let's go and create our recurring Zoom link. So if this is a Zoom meeting that we're hosting every Wednesday at 7, we do need to have a place to send them to actually join us for that call. So I'm going to go to schedule meeting. And I'm going to, let's see, this is my weekly Wednesday workshop. That is a recurring meeting. I'm going to create it. And then I'm going to look for the copy link button up here, right here. I'm going to click copy link. And now we can go and edit our campaign because we want to send them the link to join the call via that campaign message. So here we go. Again, this is templated for you. Obviously, this isn't plug and play. You need to put in the details for your own recurring event. But here we can say, click here to join or save the link for later. And I'm going to just insert that link right here. There we go. So here we are, of course, again, using that contact tag. And here, let me show you actually where you find these. See, it's right here, right next to automations. You can click this personalize with field tags, this little chat button right here. And so this is where you can find contact first name, their email address, and then finally, of course, the dates, right? So what we do here is we make sure that we include our Zoom link and make any modifications that we want. Obviously, they just registered, but that doesn't mean they'll show up. Let's make sure that we're really driving home the value of what they'll get out of showing up. Let them know how excited you are for them, et cetera, and share any additional information that you want to here. And this is ultimately what completes this funnel, right? So what will happen is folks will go to this registration page. Let me just go back and show you. This is what it looks like. They're going to fill out their name and email. It's going to show whatever the next recurring date is as the date that they will join. They put that information in here. It sends them over to this confirmation page. Oops, that's the campaign. Sorry, this confirmation page where it will show their name, their email address, and tell them to go check their email so that they can add yours to their contacts and reiterates the workshop information. And then of course, they will be receiving that one email that is going to basically share the same information. That's this one here. Okay. So let's talk about how we use this. Now, I mentioned previously that you are going to want to use a tag, right? So we want to use a tag for everyone who registers. And actually, let me just go ahead and register on that page so I can show you what this would look like. So here's our page, Evergreen Workshop registration page. Here we go. Let's go view this. All right, so this is going to be what it looks like for someone to opt in. All right, so I'm going to save the seat. It's going to send us over to this confirmation page. It's got my name and all of that same information that we discussed. So this now means that I am in the system and I am tagged with workshop lead, right? Now, let's get back here and refresh. Okay, so now what we want to do, let's just say it is the day before, or we're scheduling for the day before the call, or even the morning of the call. What we'll do is we will filter our contacts for that tag. So that's our workshop leads. And I'm going to schedule the email. So if this is a 7 o'clock next Wednesday night, I'm going to schedule at, so that's Wednesday the 16th. I'm going to schedule that for 6 p.m. And this is going to be a see you soon. And we'll say a link inside. And then maybe we include the workshop name, right? And I would highly, highly recommend to save yourself even more time to actually go create a saved reply that has all of this information, including that Zoom link that you can just drop right in, right? So here's our, here's all the call information. I've already done this. I can just drop the saved reply in and we're good to go, right? So highly recommend you use a saved reply. Make sure that that saved reply includes a link, that Zoom link, the recurring Zoom link that we created, so that they can join the call. There we can schedule a day ahead, an hour before, etc. And you can do this to these tagged contacts months in advance. And anyone who is tagged at the appropriate time when it's supposed to send, even if they aren't tagged today, but they sign up for this tomorrow and the call is next week, they will get that email that's scheduled to go out, so long as they have that tag. All right. So that's how you're actually going to maybe send reminder emails, or if you're offering a replay, that's going to be something that you broadcast out as well. And that's why that tag on the registration page is so important, because you need to be able to filter for the people who sign up. Now, getting back to the question of should I use automations for this or not? If these are calls, like I mentioned before, that you intend to only have people join once, right? So this isn't a come back every week and get my tips on XYZ. This is your sort of signature pitch for your program, and you offer this once a week, and people can register on an ongoing basis to join a live call on Wednesdays at 7. Okay. In that case, you want to work out a way to remove that tag from people after the call is over, right? If you're using this for sales, you want to be thinking about what you're doing with these leads, right? So if they're a workshop lead and they attend the workshop, what happens next? If it's perfectly okay for that person to continue getting reminders to join and participate on a weekly basis, leave it as exactly as we've shown. Have the tag there. You don't have to worry about automations. Now, if that's not you, and you want this to be a sales call that you offer, or an info call that you offer on a weekly basis that you do not intend to have people attend on a recurring basis, we need to create an automation. Now, here's what I would do. I would go into, I would actually go up here to contact settings. And I would go to automations. I would create a new one. And this one is going to be post workshop sequence. So the things I do, or I have the system do after someone attends the workshop. Okay. And we're not actually going to attach this to the landing page. This is something we're going to apply manually to people after the workshop. All right. So I'm going to add an action here first to remove that workshop leads tag, because I only want people who are registered for that week's call. right, to be able to attend that week's call. We don't want recurring registration in this case. So I'm going to remove workshop leads. I am going to add a new tag, and this is going to be post-workshop or previous workshop attendee or something like that, right? So that I have, again, a way to identify people who did register before, but they aren't, in some recurring sequence here. And let's just say maybe on that call that I offer on Wednesdays, I do make a pitch, and I am reaching out to people individually, right? So I want to actually individually pursue communication with people who attended the call. In that case, I might be adding a follow-up plan for myself, right? If you are not pursuing direct communication with the people who attended the workshop, what you might choose to do here is maybe add your sales campaign for whatever you pitched on the call, right? So I'm going to add that sales campaign, and this is going to, here we go. Here's my sales campaign. And this is going to actually start dripping out those sales messages that we want to go out after they have attended the workshop. Final thing I'm going to do just to keep things clean is I'm going to remove the Evergreen workshop campaign from that contact, just so you don't have just a list of campaigns that someone's on that aren't sending to them, right? Since we're using an automation, we might as well just do that. So this is really simple. We're going to create this automation that's going to change their tag, and it's going to add that sales campaign. Okay. Or instead of sales campaign, again, if you're doing outreach, then you might apply a follow-up plan that is prompting you to reach out at certain intervals, etc. Right? So I'm going to create that automation, and here's what I'll do. Let's say it's next Wednesday. I've just had the call, and now I'm going to, from my dashboard, I'm going to go to my contacts for this. I'm going to filter for that tag. So that's my workshop leads tag. I'm going to filter for these people. Again, this is after I've had the live call. And then I'm going to, under actions, I'm going to go to bulk contact actions and then find that automation. And that is my post-workshop sequence. So I'm going to apply that. And that is going to change the tag on my contact. So you can actually see that nobody's in that filter now, but maybe I'm going to go find my post-workshop. There we go, post-workshop. And you can find, at this point, anybody who had previously attended or registered for a workshop that's not for that current week. And you can go and see that they are, in fact, on this campaign, right? So now they're receiving those messages, or maybe you have to-dos here because you have applied a follow-up plan. All right. So those are the ways that I would recommend using this. Again, if this is something that's intended to be a recurring event that anybody can keep coming back to, all you need to do is make sure that you have filtered for the tag on that landing page, and then you can send out your reminders, replays, what have you. If you're using this for sales, create an automation that removes the tag that's on the landing page, adds a new one so you can easily find the people who were attendees previously, and then either apply your follow-up plan or your campaign. So you've got a drip sequence or a sequence for you to follow in your outreach. All right, let's see if we've got any questions here. Feel free, you guys, if you have questions on how this works, if you need any additional kind of follow-up or explanation about some of the things that I shared with you, happy to clarify here. Peggy says, sorry if I missed it. I offer the same 6-week program 3 times a year. One program started yesterday and the next one starts January 7th, 2025. Can I use these field tags for this program? So it depends on how you are promoting for enrollment. So October is a perfectly, especially if this is a high ticket program, October is a fine time to start filling people for a January program. So if you want to be offering a weekly info session for the next 6 weeks or something like that, so that you can start getting people familiar, getting their commitments, getting their deposits, getting them signed up, etc. Then you could absolutely do that. Yeah. Essentially what this is looking like, the way that we have this tag set up is if you have something that you're going to be offering on a weekly basis, it's always going to show whatever that is. So if it's always weekly on Wednesdays, or always weekly on Tuesdays, or weekly on Tuesdays until you stop using the resource, then you're going to be using that next Tuesday tag. Okay. My 6-week program started yesterday. One person wants to register today. 5 or 6 messages in the program's campaign went out already. How can I send the new registrant those emails? So if you apply the campaign to that person, even like I assume it's a date-based campaign, maybe let me know for sure in the chat. If it's a date-based campaign, then it's going to send whatever is most recent to them. Right? If it's not a date-based campaign, you could just go ahead and apply it to them. But if it's date-based, you also have the ability to, under campaigns, maybe go to, let me see. I'll just use this one. Well, this actually doesn't have any content in it, but you could actually go and click this on any of the numbers in here and click this little reset right here to reset to the day that you want. So if you wanted to resend messages from the campaign or restart them at a particular point in the campaign, you could certainly do that. Okay, Cheryl says, more on campaigns. Is there a way or any plans to have other fields that we can incorporate into more customized email campaigns? For example, one of my clients, I do an industry analysis and want to have some of this information show up in my 3rd email outreach. For example, I want to do these in bulk. Can you tell us a little bit more about what that would look like? So do you mean like additional field tags? And if so, can you maybe share a little bit of what a use case might be? And I think you're actually signed up for a live review, so we may just chat about that here in a moment. Okay, another person, I don't see your name. Could you use this bundle to set up registration for a taped webinar that can be accessed each week instead of a live event? Then start the drip campaign. So yes, yes. You just, instead of creating that Zoom link, that recurring Zoom link, so it wouldn't be fully evergreen, is kind of the main thing. Right? It's not going to be fully evergreen because we've got an evergreen resource, but then you've got date-based automations, right? So that's not actually truly evergreen. Our system works on either calendar dates or day intervals. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And so, or both at the same time. Right. So it's a little bit difficult to set it up that way where it's fully automated. But essentially what you would be doing in that case is you set up the initial part of this this funnel exactly as I mentioned previously. So, you've got your landing page that's, got that recurring date. You've got the confirmation page, again, reiterating the date that they signed up for. And then, of course, you've got the campaign that does the same. The exception here would be you're not putting a Zoom link in the campaign itself, but you are on a weekly, monthly, quarterly, however, because you can schedule out almost infinitely in advance, right? And if you're basically doing the same thing every week with this, it's just a matter of using a saved reply and just setting up those email reminders to go out month over month, right? Or you could use a campaign in this case as well, but there is going to be a manual trigger here. Right. So just like I showed you that manual application of automations onto the people who registered maybe after you went live, there is going to be some manual aspect of this just based on how we have it set up. If you're wanting to just truly do an evergreen webinar situation with a recording, you don't need to use this date tag at all. Right. Like you can actually just give somebody the replay. Right. But if you are going to make that date based, you do need to expect that you're going to have to manually press some buttons in the process. You can clump all the things that need to be done together to save yourself a bunch of time by applying an automation, for instance, but you will still have to go in, filter for those people and clean that out. Because we don't do like the fake live webinars. really the best way to do that on our platform, or to promote a recorded webinar, is really just to say, catch the workshop, it's a recording, here you can get it now. Interested in having more of a discussion on that if you have more questions to that end. Okay, let's see. So we don't do evergreen or on-demand webinars. Those are video recordings, right? And so there are plenty of platforms out there that unconvincingly try to convince people that they're watching something live when they're not. We don't do that here. We think that people are more intelligent than that. And they know that they're not on a live call. So I think that you can leverage a lot of the same things that can make those work without the gimmicks, right? So if you don't want to actually have a live call and you want to be pointing people toward a pre-recorded call, there are a number of ways to do this. And we've actually gone over some great ways to get that done in AttractWell on some of our other trainings. But yeah, like I would not recommend promoting something like it's live when it's not actually live, right? So if you're wanting to do something that's pre-recorded, this would not be the approach that I would recommend in AttractWell, because I mean, if it's available right now, it's available right now, right? And then, and again, that affords you the opportunity to have the full string of automation there, right? So they watch the video, if they watch a certain percentage of the video, you can have different automations trigger, but that would be a different type of setup than what we've described here today. And what I'm talking about here is Evergreen, right? Evergreen in terms of how you register people for an actual live call, because that's what we're talking about today, are actual live calls. If you want to set up an Evergreen funnel for pre-recorded calls, that would not require the date to come into play at all here. All right, is there a field tag we can use for first and third Monday of the month? It doesn't always fall on every other Monday because some months have 5 Mondays, so it's a little challenging. Mercy, that's a really great question, and I think that warrants maybe a wish list addition on our end. And I'm very curious to see how we come up with like language and terminology for those tags. I'm sure it's doable currently with this new feature. We don't have that capability yet, but I promise you that's going to go into a list for us to try to figure out, because I think that there are definitely a lot of use cases for that, right? So it's every other or 2 or, right? So different intervals of Mondays or other days of the week. Would you use SMS notifications? Absolutely. Yeah. The SMS notifications I would consider sending for the reminder, so, hey, we're about to go live. And maybe you could, in your in the messages that you send, and again, this isn't fully automated, you are going to schedule a broadcast in this case, where you could schedule a text message to go out, an app notification if these are app users, or of course, you could send an email. All right, can I use this for monthly or twice a month class that is paid for? Right now, those tags are set up for weekly application. We will get back to you on the larger date intervals, because as it stands right this second, that's not something that's in the system, but I don't think that would be a too terribly difficult thing for us to get updated for you. So we'll put that on the wish list and let you know just as soon as that's available. All right, so Peggy says, once the program that is running now is over, I need to go back into all the campaign messages to change the start date and other meeting dates. I have to change the dates also on the landing pages and checkout pages in the vault. It takes a long time. Is there a shortcut? Yeah, so yes, the shortcut is that you create your campaigns without dates in them, right? So, and mind you, for everyone who's listening, we're veering a little bit outside of what we just discussed here today. You're going to create a campaign that's not date specific, or one that has next Monday or whatever, right? I don't think that you need date specific. If you've got people who are in a campaign that bought a program from you, you can be sending emails that say things like tomorrow, or today. And so we don't need dates on them. And you can kind of look at the content of the messages themselves such that you modify the language to make it more neutral and applicable in the future. Another thing, and this is my personal preference when I do like very content heavy memberships or programs, create a page in your vault that has all of this stuff on it and create short emails that tell them to go look at the page and reference the page, right? Create the resource and then point to the resource. You don't have to create the resource reiterated into 7 different, means of delivery. Tell them go to the vault because you want them to go to the vault anyway. That's a behavior you want to reinforce. So instead of spoon feeding them the stuff that's in the vault in email, tell them go to the vault. That will save you tons of time and it will actually get you better results because people are going to the vault, right? We want to build that habit. And then for the checkout pages, things like that, again, you don't have to put every single detail in every single place. So for instance, on a sales or checkout page, yeah, you're going to have to go in and, if you've got the start date details, you could put that there. Or you could say the January session or something like that. And you're just changing these, obviously less often because you're not running this all the time, or you're not taking continuous enrollment. All right, let me see. I think I've got that. Obviously, come back with more questions if you have them. Can you track attendees versus non-attendees? So again, if you're doing live calls like we are discussing here today, yes, because you'll be able to see who is on the call. And when you, if you are saving the call information to your device, you will often have information about who was there. You could certainly take snapshots of it, etc. Another way that you could do this is instead of just giving them the Zoom link in that saved reply that you send out before you go live with the link to join, instead of just giving like, here's the Zoom link, you could create an automation that tags them with open Zoom or something like that for this lead sequence. So you can actually filter out who actually clicked the link to join the Zoom, right? You just have to make sure that that link to join the Zoom is only in one place and it's in that saved reply that goes out. And of course, that's an automation link that they're clicking that redirects to Zoom, that maybe applies a tag or what have you. Then you can go and find the people who didn't watch or didn't click Zoom at least, and then you'll be able to follow up from there. And yes, if it's on demand, I just tell them it's on demand. Right? Like, why do I need them to like wait 20 minutes to watch a video that they're ready to watch right now? Right? So that I can pretend that it's live when I'm actually not even there. Right? I think people are more intelligent than that. And so I don't want to try to fool anybody. Okay, yeah, so we've got 3 requests for that wish list, Craig, for adding intervals as opposed to just like the weekly options. All right, for the basic program, is there any way that the number of Zoom participants can be higher than 10? Yes, Wendy, reach out to our team, support@attractwell.com. For a nominal fee, you can increase that on an ongoing basis or even on a temporary basis if you're expecting to have a lot of people on, say, like a call next week or something like that. All right, let's see. 14 people were able to navigate the Zoom call I had. 1 person couldn't connect. The browser he tried to connect to was Safari. He was on an iPhone. Is there a setting that might have been responsible for him being able to log into the call? So accessing Zoom on mobile devices is definitely not my personal area of expertise. I would definitely maybe consider preemptively, especially if your audience is, not as tech savvy, maybe sending out an email or putting into your member area ahead of these calls, saying, hey, it would be a good idea because we're going to be meeting on Zoom every week for a certain amount of time, for a number of weeks. Go ahead and download Zoom to your phone so that you can easily open these calls if you are using a phone to access them, right? So I would preemptively address that if it's something that you see happening, right? And you want to maybe keep someone else from experiencing that. You could put something like that into place. Let me see. Yeah, so Rick, Evergreen webinars versus Evergreen webinars are pre-recorded webinars. They are fake live webinars based off of pre-recorded video. And you have the choice to say it's on demand so that you're being more clear upfront that like this is on demand, you can watch it right now. Or there's the faux live way of doing it, which is just, it's not something that we advocate for here, and it's not something that we're set up to do either. But you can do an on-demand webinar, which people understand to be a pre-recorded video. And that's something you can absolutely do with us. And again, you don't really need to worry about dates where that's concerned. So many great questions here today. My apologies for us going over just a little bit. Cheryl, you had asked a question. Let me go ahead and bring you out here real quick. And Sonia, I'll bring you out right after. All right, Cheryl, how can we help today? Are you there? It looks like you're unmuted, but I can't hear you. I guess maybe let us know in the chat. It might be, maybe check your microphone settings, because if you're talking, we can't hear you.
Trying to. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Hi. How can we help?
Okay, good. It's because I was on Teams, and then I was on Zoom, and then back on Teams, and it confuses my computer as to what's going on. My apologies for that. I don't have all my lists that I had put in for, but there's two really specific things that I need help with. One is that we got some help, couldn't figure out how to make this work. When I went initially, got a client, wanted to set her up in the system and create a vault, put things in because she wanted to make it, 3 payments. So I knew I needed to do this through a vault, right?
Mhm.
But I wanted her to come in, pay, and then be able to do a form fill that I could ask all the questions that I would ask about her and have it populate and then store in her contact. And worked with Pam, we couldn't get it to store. It kept coming up empty on there. So I had to send her a separate document, which meant that I've got the document, but now I have to manually access it. It's not part of her record.
Okay.
As it would be if it was that page that she filled out the form. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does. So in this case, I would still create a page in AttractWell where the form, everything that you want to fill out, that's how it's going to show up in her history on your card. So it'll be under, yeah, it'll be like in her past actions. So create a page for that.
We did.
Great. So in your first lesson, you're going to link to that page. So in your online class, that first lesson is going to link to that page. Now you're going to create an automation, and Gregor, you can create an automation that completes a lesson in a class, right?
You can create an automation that runs when a lesson is completed. There's a way of approving a lesson.
Okay.
I think that's through Zapier. I'd have to double check on that one, but yeah.
Okay. So, the simplest path here is to just put that link in the first lesson, and maybe have instructor approval. This person cannot move past this lesson in your curriculum until you've approved of it. And so that way, the only thing that they can do when they get in before they can move ahead to anything else is they have to fill out that form. So way, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. It's just that we did that and filled out the form, but it didn't store it. It kept giving an error message and wouldn't store the information.
Okay, so that may be something to send to our team, because that is outside of how that should be working. Because that's like if you have it's a page in AttractWell that has a form on it, whoever the contact is and their email address, that record would show up in the past actions for that contact. And so there could be a bug or something that you're experiencing that our team needs to investigate, because that's definitely something that should be working. So for tech support, you might want to send a message to our team for that.
Okay, because I'm trying to set up a vault template then to use for other clients as I bring them in.
Mhm.
And then my other situation is I'm trying to now set up some email campaigns. I have several different client types. And one of them is because I'm a speaker. And so event coordinators that I'm sending out customized emails. The first emails are very, very customized. From that point on, I have some campaign emails that I've created that I want to use, but within those, it would be nice to have a little more customization other than adding in their name. So for example, if I'm applying to speak at for National Association of Grocers. Okay, I don't have a history as being a grocer. I can't, but I'm a leadership expert. So I can speak to the motivation, inspiration, the problems going on. So I research, I do an industry analysis to understand what's going on, and then do my skills. Would they benefit them? Create an email. I save that industry analysis. That's useful information to bring up in a following email. But if I'm sending an email to you, Ashley, and then I'm sending one to George and I'm sending one to Mary, how do I store that information? Right now, I'm sticking everything in that background information because there's no way to add fields. And so I don't know what to do.
Got you. Yeah. So I would create saved replies for those. And so you have a couple of options. If you want it to be sort of a set it and forget it situation, so you want to send out
Yes.
a series over a period of time, essentially what I would do is I would create a base campaign that would be something that you could send to anyone, and then make a copy of that for that particular industry or even for that particular lead, and then use your saved replies to attach the report and any other supporting information to supplement what's there. And do that for, you know, however many campaign messages are there. And then you can apply that unique campaign, because you can have as many campaigns as you want. You can apply that campaign to that lead.
If I'm hearing you properly, that would just be like a report I would attach to them. I couldn't put in the body of the email that said, you know, as your industry continues to struggle with, and then have the with being a field that gets inserted within the email as a reminder, here's what I do, or here is the piece of information that would help you.
Right.
Does that,
Yeah.
it wasn't to attach something.
Got you. Yeah. No, I understand.
Okay.
At this stage, we don't have like sort of make your own tags to insert,
Okay.
you know, this here. That said, you know, my recommendation would be for using our platform and kind of making the most of your time is I would maybe look at the verticals that you're focusing on and consider, again, just from a templated perspective, you know, have the baseline of whatever you would say, and then basically have version A, B, C, D of the campaign, right? And then use those for the different types of leads.
Okay, I figured you would know a workaround, something that I could do to make this work a little bit easier for me and automate as much as manually.
Yeah, a combination of saved replies so that you can plug in information that's relevant to different points that you're making, or, you know, different things that you might want to show and tell. That would be a huge time saver. And then basically constructing the initial campaign in such a way that it's applicable to everyone. And then you can go in and just kind of be modular, right? Adding the pieces from the saved replies there. Another thing that you could consider using are text expanders, where if you want to, you know, so maybe shorthand a couple of keys on your device that says whatever struggle A is for this industry, right? There's a few things that you can do there, but yeah, as of right now, we don't have a custom, like make your own tag for insertion just yet. It's a cool idea though, and worthy of exploration.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I was kind of hoping that was in the works. So I need to research save replies then. And you said text, text examples, expanders. Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. I will research those. So that's it for me.
Awesome. Thanks for coming out, Cheryl. All right, Sonia, let me find you. How can we help today?
Hi, am I
Hi.
able to share my screen?
No, but I can go into your account for you.
Perfect, perfect. Yes, so go into the Discover You page, collegecareerready.org. And if you go to Discover You on the menu, and I have a
Okay,
hard stop at 2 because I have a meeting, but I want to hope to ask you the question and then you could just, yeah, respond.
absolutely. Yes, sorry about that. Yeah, no, absolutely. All right, I've got your account open. So we're going to go to Discover You on your site.
Correct?
All right.
Yes.
And what is the question?
Okay, so here's my question. I have the Discover You page, which talks about basically the concept of the career coaching that I do. Now I offer 3 services: one-on-one coaching with the course, and the course itself with a group coaching. So those are the 3 options. My question is this: if you go back up right where you just passed and a little bit down, a little further down, it's the yellow. It says right there. If you click on that link, that tells you my services, but it's very lengthy and I don't want that in my page. But my question is this: how can I make that first page almost a point where parents decide, do we need one-on-one coaching? Do we need the course and the coaching? Or do we need the, a more cost-effective, which is the course and a group coaching? So should I present that here, and how can I help parents decide what, I mean, obviously a call would be best, but I'm trying
Sure.
to maybe answer some of those questions there.
Okay.
Oh,
a
and real
video.
quick, the course tab is only for the group coaching class. So that's why if you click on that one, it'll say add to the wait list, because that one's only a couple of times a year.
Okay, great. Yeah, so on a page like this one, because you've got a couple of different options, and especially because these are parents and students who are looking to make really significant changes, who need a lot of trust to put into somebody who's going to help guide them in that direction. Obviously, encouraging people to book a call with you is going to be ideal, but it's certainly important as well to have options outside of that. A video would be excellent for this, where you are maybe talking through, if you're this, do this, if you're that, do that, right? And you can have a video on this page that kind of breaks that down. And that would also allow you to not put this here. I don't really recommend sending them off to Google Docs because they're leaving your website. And also, I think they really need to talk with you or get that context from a video that's going to serve them a lot better than just sending them this. Right. And then, of course, there's always the get in touch with me. Right. So book a quick call or email me. And you could say all of that in a video, I think, in a way that can help people feel a little bit more clear about what their next step is, or at the very least, feel like they know you well enough to feel comfortable with getting on the phone with you or on a Zoom call.
Yep, that makes, yeah. Okay. All right. Oh my gosh, that was easier than I thought.
Awesome. And before 2 p.m.
Yes, and before clear. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it.
Sure thing, Sonia. All right. Great questions today. Really, really great questions today. And you guys are doing such great work. Mercy, I see your hand up. Do you have a question that we can answer for you? Maybe just let me know in the chat. Sometimes the hands go up by accident. So if you are wanting to come out and chat, can you just let me know in our webinar chat here, and I'm happy to unmute you and bring you out. So yeah, today we have talked about what it looks like to set up an evergreen funnel for a weekly live call. We have certainly heard your requests. If you are wanting to do something like this on a different interval than weeks, that is something that we are going to put our brains to work on here in the meantime. Yeah, what we learned today is how you can set up that webinar funnel, right? Or a workshop funnel or a weekly live call funnel that you can use either for people to attend on a recurring basis or as a part of a sales process where you can be moving people toward the close. I hope you guys really enjoyed the content today. Let us know if there's something else that you would like to learn, if there are improvements that you're looking for. Cheryl had a great idea about custom, sort of personal customized tags for things like pain points in fields. That's a phenomenal idea that's going on our wish list. So we are what we are because you guys are here and showing up and doing great work and telling us how we can make what we do better. And we're here for you. So we look forward to being here with you again next week. I hope you'll join us then. Be sure to sign up for a live work review if you want one. And of course, head over to our Facebook group, connect with the community, and let us know what kind of what type of content you would be looking for in terms of what you want to learn next. We will see you guys next week, same time. Take care, everybody.